another day of adventures with Wes and Jeff, and it's Wes this time, and I'm in the state of Alaska at Denali National Park. Denali is located 230 miles north of Anchorage and about 135 miles south of Fairbanks. This is all framed around a mountain called Mount Denali that is the tallest one in the United States and in North America at 20,310 feet. And this national park is 6 million acres large, and it gets about 230,000 visitors a year. This park was established back in 1917, and then it was as Mount McKinley National Park. It was renamed to its indigenous name, which is Denali, which means the tall one, back in 1980. So stick with me today and I'll show you the things to see and do here at this interesting park here in Alaska. Denali's base sits at about 2,000 feet above sea level, and it rises up over 3.5 miles to its summit at 20,310 feet. The amazing 5 wildlife that you can see here at Denali National Park is the wolf, the grizzly bear, the caribou, the Dall sheep, and the moose. Today we start off our tour here at Denali National Park at the main visitor center here at the park entrance. This is a place where you can check out the history of this park, as well as the many ranger-led programs are starting from this point. And there's a bookstore here, a gift shop, a luggage shack, the park's only restaurant called the Merlino Grill, beautiful exhibits showcasing Denali's landscape, the wildlife, and the natural history of this park. Inside the visitor center here, there's a quick little trail that'll take you right over to the train depot. I'm going to take you down there. The train just pulled in with visitors that came up from Anchorage and further points. So you're just going to check that out. We consider this the boreal forest. It's a lot of like birch trees and that kind of thing. But this is on the way down to the railroad depot. Check out these train cars that have the viewing windows on the top of them. Option for visitors coming in on cruise ships or even just flying into Anchorage, you can take this train ride, which takes about 4 hours, 6 hours. I'll have to look that up, posted at the bottom of the screen. but you can take this train ride and it's very scenic, and it drops you off right here at just a half a block away from the visitor center. It's a great option. This train just came in, and all of these folks are getting ready to go back on it. Outside the visitor center, there's a trail called the Spruce Forest Loop, and it's just 0.2 round trip. So I'm going to check this little trail out and see what it has to offer. Spruce Forest Loop. So it's a spruce forest. My serenity on this little short trail is being interrupted right now because of a helicopter flight scene tours and stuff that people are taking as close as they can get to the mountain. Today is not a super clear day, but there's peaks where you can see the mountaintop, the summit. Spruce Forest Loop. It's only 0.2. It's like 2 city blocks, but it goes into this little spruce forest here, and it's very peaceful and nice. The best time to go would be early morning or after like 6 p.m. when things start to shut down here, but it's still light until almost midnight. So it's a nice little 0.2 of a level walk, so check it out. When you're headed to the dog sled demonstration for the bus, it's kind of cute because if you look on the ground, there's these little paws that it leads all the way to the actual line that you need to take for the bus. Really cute. There's the line. There's the dog paws all the way to the bus line. I'm on my way to the dog sled demonstration here. It's a ranger-led program by the National Park Service, and there'll be lots of dogs. They'll explain how these athletes pull these sleds, and they patrol the park during the winter months when there's lots of snow. But the best way to get here is to get on one of these green buses that are courtesy buses that leave from the visitor center about 40 minutes prior to one of the 3 presentations they have each day. So check it out at the visitor center for the times when the buses leave and when the presentations are. So join me today on a little excursion here to see how these dog sled demonstrations. Once you exit the park bus, the courtesy bus, it's just a short stroll over to the kennels, and you get to see the dogs, you get to greet them and say hi to them before the demonstration starts. About 6 of the courtesy buses that bring you over here to the dog sled demonstration. So if the first bus fills up, don't get discouraged because there's another bus coming. Then the ranger comes on board and explains all about what you're going to see and do and how this all works. But it's a free program, and this is the only national park in the national park system that has a dog sled demonstration and a program. So
we're trying to get 2 more young dogs into the kennel. So we have 25 adults currently and 7 newcomers.
nappy. So I can get it there. Each one has their own little house, and they have their names on their little houses. We've been instructed that you're not able to call them over. If they want to have some attention, then you are allowed to give them attention, but they have to come over to you. So some of these guys are on chains, but each one has their name there. One little house. She's cleaning. And then, so they have these outside, and these have their own individual little pens. This guy right here. Where are you? There you are. Hi there, mister. Chasing rabbits. See him chasing rabbits. Or no, he's pulling a sled. That's what he's doing. See him across.
Yeah, the dad was is a dog from the outside kennel.
These pups are only 10 weeks old. They grow really fast. They're only about a pound when they are born.
They start weaning them when they're so they started with her kind of sometime away, sometime in the pen. You can kind of tell when mom gets tired.
Having a little nappy right now. Alaskan Huskies are a particular breed of dog that excels in working hard to pull dog sleds. They are a combination of breeds such as Malamute, Samoyed, and Siberian Husky. Pound for pound, these sled dogs are the strongest draft animals on earth. They can run up to 20 miles per hour and up to 60 miles in a single day. These Huskies have long legs, large compact feet that distributes the weight of the dog evenly as it runs through the snow. Like wolves and other animals, they have counter current circulation in their legs, which allows for the dog's core to stay warm while the paws can be close to freezing. Huskies have a double-layered fur coat that insulate them from Alaska's near 40 below temperatures. These dogs cover their noses with their tails to trap warm air to protect their sensitive noses to the freezing temperatures. Man, she's moving.
Uh-oh. What happened? Get up the hill.
What can we say? We're only human, right? Sometimes you lose the trail. Alright, let's hear it for our sled dog team.
This is going to be the Horseshoe Lake Trail. It's 4 miles round trip from the visitor center, but there's a spot right at the railroad tracks that there's a small parking lot that you can cut off just a little bit of it. So it'll be 3.2 miles round trip for me. So stick with me and I'll show you what there is to see and do on this interesting trail. And there's the loop. Let's start here. Gonna go up and we're gonna go around the lake and back and come back. So there's the lake from a distance. Cool. That's where I'm going down to. So it is gonna be a walk down, but then it'll be a hike back up. So I'm on the Horseshoe Lake trail. Be forewarned, it goes downhill down to these lakes, and then you have to hike back up. Pretty steep section in order to get back up, but it'll be a nice little workout. There's a little ground squirrel. Here he is. Probably somebody's given him a nut before. Not today, not for me. So the majority of these trees here are spruce. They grow pretty rapid and they grow really straight and tall. So it's pretty dominant in this type of landscape. It can tolerate that cold weather in the winter months. At this point in the trail, you have to make a decision. You want to do the whole big loop, which is all the way around, or you want to do the short loop. So I'm going to do the big loop this time, which is straight ahead. And another part in the trail, you have to make a decision if you want to extend it another half mile or so, and it goes for the further loop out to the river. So I'm doing that. I'm adding another half mile to the journey. So the trail kind of opens up to the shoreline of the river here. So big boulder rocks, really pretty though. And you got all the hotels and the stuff on that side of the river. That water is moving and it is cold glacier melt. So pretty cool. Another cool bridge. I love it. Love it when the Park Service puts in a little extra effort and makes a really nice bridge on these trails. So it's a really cool bridge. Here at the end of the lake, Horseshoe Lake. So here at Horseshoe Lake at Denali National Park, Horseshoe Lake, a lot of the beavers have been working. This is a natural dam they have built here on Horseshoe Lake. Pretty interesting. In fact, there's two. There's the larger one here, and then there's a little smaller one right down here. Interesting. Over and check it out. See what masters they made. And then here, if you look, this has been chewed by the beaver. That's how they chew away and get more logs for their little dam. And there's some activity that they've made here on this one as well. Such a beautiful hike around Horseshoe Lake. Definitely recommend this one. Either from the visitor center or you can go down to the train tracks and start there. But go all the way out to the river and then around the lake completely. And it's a really great hike. You enjoy it. These boardwalks probably come in really handy in the spring and when they have lots of rains, because it probably gets really low and boggy here on the trail. This is the Mountain Vista Trail. It's a loop trail and it's only 0.6 and there's sweeping views of the mountain range. That it's kind of a partly cloudy day, but we should get some pretty good views. So stick with me, I'll show you what there is on the Mountain Vista Trail. Here on the Mountain Vista Trail, it's a nice wide trail and it has sweeping views of the mountain range off in the distance, so pretty cool, very nice. A nice little stroll through here. I'll flip the camera around. Let's see. off in the distance. Yeah, that mountain range. So beautiful and so peaceful. So along the Mountain Vista Trail, there is a placard here that explains about the glaciers and how they have formed this landscape. So 150,000 years ago, where I'm standing right now in this valley here, the glacier was all the way back to this point. So glaciers in the Alaska range have greatly influenced this Denali landscape. A glacier forms where the snow lasts through the summer year after year and piles up and compresses into hard glacial ice. The ice flows and scrapes its way downhill due to gravity, and it grinds the rock to dust and gripping great big boulders from the bedrock, and over thousands of years this action sculpts the mountains and carves the valleys. This is an example of where those glaciers have carved into this valley, and they're no longer here. They've retreated back and it's returned to its natural landscape, but really interesting. The flowing out of the mountains and the glaciers often follow the path of least resistance, such as an existing valley carved by the river. So you can see the river here. This is the Savage River that's right here that flows along here. So the glacier plows through, leaving a wide, flat valley floor when it recedes. Visible, but this is Denali right there. 20,310 feet of it. So it hasn't been visible most of the day. We finally got a glimpse of Mount Denali. So comparing the photograph with today's landscape, all of the buildings are gone that they placed here for park visitors to be out here. They've taken them all away. Now it's just the Meadow Vista Trail. But on a clear day, Mount McKinley is still visible, and it should be like right there. It is in their photo. Is in my photo. Cool. This is the Savage Cabin Trail, and it's 0.8. Gonna take this little trail and see what that cabin's all about, and I'll post the history of that cabin as well. This Savage Cabin Trail crosses over the park road. And once you cross over, bears frequent this area. So you really should have bear spray. I don't have my bear spray with me today, but it's only a little bit further. So, and the Savage River Campground is this direction as well. I'm going to do that hike, and the cabin is only 0.3 this way. And then the Savage Alpine Trail is 4 miles. It's on up the hill. I'm not going to do that one today. This Savage Alpine, you can see it goes up quite a ways further to the river. But I'm gonna do this little Savage Cabin Trail loop and then come back, and then I'll drive up to the Savage River Campground as far as you can on the park road. And there is the Savage Cabin. It's an old log cabin. I'll have to post on here the history of when it was built. And of course the doors are locked, but it is kind of cool. Old thing. Oh, and they had a pup. His name was Center. And that's the pup. Had his own little log cabin. Look at that. How cool. And these are the doors. People, oh, they don't want anybody to touch this because those are rusty nails sticking out of there. Yeah, old log cabin. We got. How cool is that? I'll have to put the history on here of when this was built and who occupied it and everything about this Savage Cabin. I'm at the Savage River, and there is a 2-mile loop hike down the river and back. And so I'm going to do that 2-mile Savage River loop trail. And I just wanted to point out over here behind my shoulder is where the road continues. I'm going to flip the camera around. So that's the park road that goes into the park, but it's only for narrated adventures through the buses that are tan. So you can't drive from this point forward. And there's a campground here as well. It's called the Savage Campground, Savage River Campground. So it's really pretty here, but this is the river basin here. I'm gonna take this 2-mile and show you what there is to see and do. There's restrooms here. I'm at the Savage River Loop trailhead. There's a couple information placards about this braided river. So it says that this braided river originates in the Alaska Range and carries silt, gravel, cobbles downstream. When the river reaches a relatively flat plain, the flow rate slows down, like what it is right now, and the sediment load drops to the bottom of the stream, building up over time to form a wide gravel bar with consistently shifting channels, the smaller gravel bars and inlets in this ever-changing waterway are ideal habitats for numerous animals. So it kind of shows you the braided river. This is the trailhead for the Savage River Loop. You go downriver and check it out, cross over the bridge, and then come back. 2 miles total. So right when you start off at the Savage River Loop, you see all these big boulders on the trail. You're like, where did all these boulders come from? Well, these have all been moved here by the flowing rapids of this fast moving river. So over time, so these guys have some age to them, but they're just jagged and they've been tossed and turned and tumbled along the riverbed. Along the trail here is the grouse, and you see it right here. I think there's a couple of them. That's a grouse, yeah. I think it's a younger one. It's calling its mate. It's up here hiding. Oh, it's got babies right there. There's the babies. She's calling her babies, trying to keep them together. So hiking along the Savage River here at Denali National Park, and you can see the braided thing that we were talking about earlier, how it braids and it works its way as it gets flatter. It spreads out and channels out. But this trail goes on the north side, and then it crosses over a bridge, and then it loops over onto the other side. And you can see some of the other hikers that are on the other side of the trail and hiking back up. So it's just really pretty. 2 miles in total. This is the section of the Savage River where it narrows into a smaller channel from the braided section to this narrower section. You see where the water starts to really move faster as it narrows. Kind of interesting. So now we go into more rapids, because you can see it went from the braided section. It went from the braided section, now it's gone down to the narrow channel. Now we've got some drop in the rocks, and it's caused a little waterfall there. That's pretty cool. Okay, those are grizzly paw prints that are in the silt along this river. There was a warning sign saying watch out because there's been grizzlies sighted in this area. Now the rocks along this part of the trail are shale and a different makeup completely. And there's the view. So pretty. Picture it. When you hike on trails like this and you know there's a landmark coming up that you're like, hey, where is that halfway point? It's the bridge. The bridge is the halfway point. I keep asking everybody, where's the bridge? Like, oh, it's just around the corner. It has not been just around the corner. It has been a whole mile, and it's been fairly long. It's starting to get cooler here. It's around 7 o'clock in the evening. Stays light until late here, so I'm not worried about that. It's just starting to get a little cooler and really windy in this little channel here in this canyon. But as I crested that last corner, it's like, there's my halfway mark. It's the bridge that'll cross over to the other side of the canyon. So I'm looking forward to that and hiking back and seeing the views from the other side. Coming up on the bridge that crosses over the Savage River here. Once it bends down there, it really looks like it gets rugged. But I'm not gonna do that today. I'm just gonna do the 2 mile. So this is the end of my 1 mile and I'll be turning back, going across this bridge to come up on the north side. So there's the bridge. Cool. Here it goes. Caribou is right down at the river. It's going to be hard for me to zoom in. You can see it's something, but we thought it was a moose at first, but we zoomed in on my binoculars and we were able to determine it's a caribou. And there's actually 2 of them down there. The other one has moved around the corner where you can't see him. Just outside the park, on the north side, is a little village called Denali Park Village. And there's Princess Lodge, there's a New Holland Lodge, so those are like cruise ship lodges, as well as a strip of gift shops and restaurants and that kind of thing. So it's kind of a cool place to go and check out gifts and have dinner, that kind of thing. But along the way, there's the Nenana River, and there's this nice little crossing here that you can check out the rushing water, and it's just a nice little stop along the way. This is like a little outlet here that kind of perches you over the waters. Look at that water moving. And it's like chocolate milk. It's got all that silt in it from the glaciers that have washed all that down. They also have like river rafting, and that's the spot where they drop in to go down this very cold river down to the other dropout point. But and this is the park here. That's Mount Healey there, Healy. You know, I'm a sucker for things that are kind of interesting and out of the ordinary. And here at the Overlook, right by the Nenana River, is this drop-in for the river rafts. And it's so much higher up than the actual bank of the river that they have to have them go down the steep slope on these rollers. Unfortunately, they don't have any dropping in right now. It's pretty early in the morning, but I just wanted to show you that ramp that goes down to the river's edge. So this is the ramp right here, and it goes all the way down. It has these 2x4, 2x6s, and they have put it all the way down with this carpet piece down to the river's edge. And so there's multiple of these rollers, and it just rolls all the way down there in order to put those big rafts into the water so folks can go on a river raft. Just really interesting. And that's Mount Healey there, and there's the river raft. Just to the back side of the visitor center, it's kind of a convergence of all the trailheads, and I'm going to show you. Today we're going to head up to the Mount Healey Overlook Trail, so you can see that there's quite a few trails goes off this way, and a few others go straight ahead here. So I'm gonna head off in this direction and do the Mount Healey Overlook Trail. The Mount Healey Overlook Trail is 2.7 miles one way. It's considered more of a strenuous hike because of the elevation gain. It does go up to an overlook that's not quite to the top of the mountain of Mount Healey, but to majority of the way. So as you leave the visitor center, the Mount Healey Trail is also part of the Horseshoe Lake Trail. So, and it'll branch off up here once you cross over the Park Road. So we're crossing over the Park Road. You gotta watch out for wildlife because there's not a lot of people on the trail and more wildlife activity. So to the right is the Mount Healey and Horseshoe Lake, and to the left is the roadside hiking trail, the Meadow View Loop, and over to the dog sleds. So the first part of the trail is lined with these aspen and spruce. And once you get to this point, it breaks off and goes to this way. To the left, it would be Rock Creek, and to the right is where I'm going, Mount Healey. Aspen, spruce, and other types of trees. People like to carve in to the aspen because it makes a mark and doesn't go away. Only about a half mile into the hike, you come to this nicely constructed bridge. Anybody who's watched my videos knows that I love these bridges and love to record each and every one of them. So this little bridge goes over across this creek, and it's a nice one. As soon as you cross over the bridge, you have to make a decision whether you're going to go to the right to go towards the Horseshoe Lake Trail, or to the left, which is the Mount Healey Overlook Trail. So that's what we're going to do today. So this is the actual map. So we're right here at this junction, and it's going to zigzag up to the overlook, and we'll have some switchbacks until we get to the very top. This is the break-off point after the bridge, going up to the Mount Healey Overlook. So the fun part starts here. It's 2,700 feet climb, but then you get to come down. So it shouldn't be too bad on the way down, but on the way up, it's going to be strenuous. As soon as you cross that bridge and you turn, the elevation starts to gain right away. You'll know it because it's like, ooh, it's starting to burn my legs. So just stay with it. It's going to be a gradual incline the whole way from here, this point forward. So we're on the trail. I think I can see people way up on the top. That's a long way, but I think those are people up on the very top. Cool. I don't have my binoculars with me right now, but yeah, I can tell these are people walking around. Cool. Along the trail, you see the top there. It's definitely 2,700 feet. So it'll be fun to hike up and get those spectacular views. Hopefully the clouds kind of move around a little bit for me, so I get some good views from the top of Mount Healey. There you go. Your adventure here with me today at Denali National Park. Please hit the like button and consider subscribing to our channel and join us on our adventures to see all of the national parks in the United States and our other travel adventures. So whatever you're doing today, get out to the great outdoors and do something that makes you smile.